This is the sweet sound of success with Sue Wilhite, Profit Attraction Master.
Ruke is a creative entrepreneur and artist who transforms visions into reality. He has worked with the intellectual properties of Marvel, Disney, and Chico's. With over 2 decades of experience, Ruke has contributed to the launch of hundreds of brands, products, and services through his creative agency, Blink. Those who have had the opportunity to work with Ruke through Blink rave.
Choosing Blink may be in fact the best investment I've ever made.
The best team I have ever worked with. They get it and get it right the first time.
Blink will do whatever it takes to bring a project to fruition.
Ruke's creative entrepreneur spirit has been experienced on Fox News, University of Miami's Launchpad, World Game Executives, Parent and Child, Kotaku, and many more. He's a highly sought-after consultant and speaker for corporations and conventions, helping entrepreneurs take their businesses to the next level. Fun facts: Ruke was privately trained as an artist since the 3rd grade. He still has every Star Wars toy since childhood. He married his wife 3 months after their first date. It's been 20+ years with 4 beautiful daughters. They play video games as a family on a weekly basis. Ruke started his first company 22+ years ago and is still making money with it today. Ruke has been able to design a lifestyle that honors his passion, talents, and family.
And now, it's your turn. Let's play.
So welcome, Ruke. Thank you so much for doing me the honor of being on my show. I was so thrilled to have you say yes.
I'm so thrilled you asked. Of course I'm going to say yes.
So, Ruke, and for our audience, I'm just going to tell you this show is all about the entrepreneur's hero's journey for the soul. And the way that it works is we're going to talk about your ordinary beginning. What was your call to action? What brought you into the entrepreneurial fold and started you on that path? What were some of the challenges that you got to play with?
Yeah.
And really importantly, who were your allies, mentors, sidekicks who supported you, got you on your path, helped you out? You know, those wonderful characters. You know, Frodo couldn't have done it without Sam, right?
Love it. Yeah. Well, and with that said, I'm prepared.
Whoa.
So I'm ready to talk about this hero's journey. Got my Halo sword.
Seriously. There you go.
So.
And then finally, the last part is the entrepreneur's journey home. How do you integrate all of this into your life? And how does it show up? For some people, there's a little bit of a contrast between, you know, being an entrepreneur and having to deal with your family and what goes on.
Not me.
Oh, don't give it away. Let's get to the end. So let's start at your ordinary beginning. What were you like before you were Ruke?
I'm exactly this. I've not changed. I still I still play with swords.
Mustache.
I've gotten a little bit older, not much. I still play with Star Wars toys. I still make the sounds. I still do all that. What began was I was in kindergarten and I drew my very first picture. The teacher had this picture of George Washington up on the wall real high, and they said, and she wanted to like pass some time, so she said, draw that. And I did it. And as I was looking, this is in kindergarten, as I was looking at the other kids, I'm like, first of all, it was the first time anyone challenged me to draw something. Right. So I always just drew spaceships and all this nonsense. And so it was a purposeful thing. And I saw looked nothing like the picture. Mine did. and I started receiving attention immediately. And so I just go, okay, cool. This is cool. So I got lost in it. And then I looked up and the whole class was around me and it freaked me out.
I bet.
Totally freaked me out. Yeah. But I realized I did something they didn't do. And I found my place in the world. So I went home and I said, Mom, I don't want to be Superman. I want to be an artist.
Aw.
Yeah. And so that's when I found my place in the world. And my parents were really, really cool. And so in the 3rd grade, because I had dyslexia and all this stuff, they put me some tests and they said, oh my gosh, in these areas, he's beyond what we can measure. And they said, let's give him some art lessons. And so they started paying for private art lessons.
You know, I hear this from people who have dyslexia, that there's a visual part of the brain that does graphics. I had a friend, a work colleague, who could look at an object and do the 3D blow up in his head.
Yeah.
And turn it and rotate it and, you know, figure it out. And it was just amazing. I know others who can look at a blueprint and do the 3D of it and know exactly what it looks like in 3D. So people with dyslexia, I refuse to call it a learning disability.
No, superpower.
It's a superpower. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to recommend to my friends and to my audience here that they look up a fabulous book called Proust and the Squid, which is all about a woman's quest to deal with her son's diagnosis of dyslexia and the marvelous things that she found out about it. So awesome. It's your superpower. You found your superpower.
It is.
Parents were supportive.
It was part of my the other thing. I had ADD, ADHD, XYQP, and my thoughts went much faster than my mouth. So I also had a speech impediment. So I stuttered. I did all that stuff. Then I couldn't read, and so visual arts is the way I felt fully communicative.
Right.
Yeah, and so that layered into my talent of a visual artist and
so
an artist in general.
So basically, you were a genius, having difficulty communicating that genius to the rest of the world.
Yeah, actually on the point scale, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, what's funny is, so what happened was they gave me these series of tests because my mom was a school teacher. And so I was at the top of the class and then they started reading and writing and I went 3 classes and moved class to the bottom within like 2 weeks. I'm like, what's going on here? And so they gave me a test. And it was supposed to be for the dyslexia and all that stuff. It was the wrong test. They gave me an IQ test. And that's when they said, uh-oh, wrong test, but check this crap out. That's when they realized I was off the charts. Then they gave me the real test and they go, and he's dyslexic. And so, so then I got moved to the top of the class to the gifted program with all the cool people, oddballs.
Right.
I loved it. Yeah. Except when it came to the reading part.
Yeah. But you know, that's achievable. It's doable. And
listen, when I had a brick and mortar, I had 2 secretaries.
Right.
I had my office, my door open, my secretary in the next office over, and the secretary for my secretary who could handle and me, the office over. And I would be on the phone, like that old thing called a phone. I'd be on Skype. I'd be chatting online, yelling orders to both of them, and one would come taking notes. And I was in my dream world.
Right. Exactly. It's manageable if you get help. And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yes, it's called 2 secretaries.
Right.
But you know, the way I handle it now is because reading's hard for me. Now, I'm a best-selling author. You go figure that one. I'm a great storyteller. But my computer reads to me.
Right.
You know, so I have it all voice command and all that stuff so that I can do my visual art, concentrate on what I'm doing, and my computer is now my secretary.
Right.
Yeah.
It's taking what many people would consider limitations, roadblocks, things that are in the way. I can't do this because in the blank, and going, okay, how do we solve this?
Yeah.
and making it work. And part of that is getting help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So reading was a challenge. Did you have any
Still
other
is.
challenges? Yes. But were there any other kind of challenges that you ran into on your entrepreneur's journey?
I've had a lot of challenges. On what journey are we talking about? Entrepreneurial journey? Well, I mean, I guess I'll tell you the universal challenge, and no disparaging to my background or where I was. I'm from Fort Myers, Florida, and Fort Myers, Florida is on the Gulf Coast of Florida. It is famous for the winter home of Ford, Firestone, and Edison. And so it was a place that a lot of smart people came to relax and all that, but there's no industry there. They did not, they had a lab there for like, the play stuff, but none of the industry was coming out of there. So basically Southwest Florida is known, especially that area, for real estate or medical. And so it's the newlywed or nearly dead. And so my first challenge, honestly, was how to get talent to come to Fort Myers, Florida, because it's an amazing place to raise your family. Now, it's grown past this, but you understand. I mean, you're looking at my studio, and I respect you. Your comment coming on here was turn off the lasers. So that's normally how this room looks like, with lasers and all that. Right. And by the way, if we weren't on this, it would still look like this. So this is for me, not necessarily for you. I just let you come see it. And so so that was my mind. And a lot of people, when I, think I'm from LA, because I think like that, I'm that kind of fast paced and all that, or New York, which is cool. So I had to figure out how to grow beyond Southwest Florida. Right. Because I didn't have the influence, I didn't have the connections. And so I started doing networking and broadcasting and all that, and working virtually. And because I wasn't able to attract the talent that I needed, I've been virtually broadcasting for about 17 years. And people are like, well, how did you even pull it off back then? I figured out a way. Yeah. And yes, and I had servers working, virtual people working for me, full-time people working for me here in the States. And when 2008 hit, I had a brick and mortar and hybrid virtual, and we were still healthy, but we were ground zero of the recession. Right. In 2008, because it was Cape Coral and Lehigh Acres, where all the properties that were being flipped and falsely inflated. Well, Fort Myers is right in the middle of that. And so I saw that coming. I said, I better do something really, really quick. And as my employees, staff, and I call them their employees for this conversation, but normally they're teammates, because I don't like that hierarchy. And so as we grew, as their spouses would lose their jobs, I'd say, well, just take the computer and go. I did that so much that I came back from LA for about 3 months. And it was me and my bookkeeper. And I said, in this 2-story building, all this, I'm like, I'm going to go home. And I've never returned. Wow. Yeah. So that was hard to overcome. But you know what? Here's the deal. It's the passion and drive. Right. You're one of your questions was a turning point. So you tell me when you want to, I'll tell you kind of how, what links. Let's go there. Okay. All right. So the first thing is kindergarten, seeing the attention, saw I finally found my place in the world. Then private lessons, I'm in middle school, and my mom's a guidance counselor. So I kind of said that, but she's a guidance counselor at this time in her life. And they had electives, and I was stressed. And she's like, what's wrong? I said, well, they have violin, they have computers, and I want to do all these things, but I don't want to screw up my career. Right. So this is the number one lesson that I live by. I teach my kids, and my awesome mom still lives with me, not with me, but is alive, and she's on the planet. Reinforces this with the family. Do what you love and figure out how to make money with it. Because she said, you're worried about the wrong thing. It's not about what you need to do. It's do whatever you want to do. Just what you need to work on is how to make money with it. And so that's right then. First of all, the answer is I took them all at that point. I did it all without any limits. And she's always been the champion on my shoulder going, you can do everything. She walks in the studio and goes, boy, I'm glad I never limited you, because we live on an amazing compound that's nothing but creative inspiration. Every inch of it is. It's about an acre, and the house is about 8,000 square feet. So it's like every inch is designed for family fun and all that. All homeschooled. We all play here on the compound. But that's because of my mom's inspiration going, you have no limits, do what you love. And figure out how to make money with it. And that's why I say I only work with half my brain. Because the other half is just natural. I'm just playing.
I see. Okay. So half of your brain is on work and half of it is on play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you master something, it's effortless.
Yes.
Yeah. So I play until the point I master it. The effortless, and that's effortless. Then I work on how to make money. So when I'm working, it's just, okay, how do I monetize this? How do I monetize this? That's the only work I do.
That is
My profession, what I deliver, what I produce. Oh, that's effortless. That's play. That's not thinking.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, it should all be fun. I mean, that's just the way that it should roll.
It should be. And
I hear people, oh my God, I hate my job. Oh, I hate this. Oh, I hate this.
We shouldn't have a job.
Then don't have a job. Do something that you love to do.
Yeah.
And now is such an amazing opportunity to find what you want to do.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, that's it.
It's
and the way, yeah. And I love the way we play, because all you and I do, especially when we're networking at the fair, we have this thing called the World Dominating Fair we play every week at. All we're doing is giving people permission and space to play.
Yes.
Because the world told them they couldn't. The world told someone in their life said, you can't do that. You're not talented enough. You're not good enough. There's no way. It's too hard. And people's limited beliefs hold people back. And so that's why I love playing with you on a weekly basis, because we get to go, no, you can. Go on, little bird. And sometimes we have to kick them out of the nest, right? But we'll catch them. We're there to catch it too. So it's not just like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I believe that if you find your passion, I tell my kids, I don't care what you do. I don't care what you become. And I don't care how many times you fail. Just find something and put your full effort into it until you find something that you love, and you can change that all you want. Just give it your full effort. Because here's the truth. And when we talk about adversity, and, I couldn't say, well, I'm in Southwest Florida and, I can't grow an international agency. I had every excuse to fail. I have all the baggage, all the daddy problems, all these things that everybody else has. I really do. All daddy issues, that's what it's called, I think. I have all this stuff. But here at the end of the day, it's your drive and passion that makes you successful. And you got to figure out what you love to do. Because here's the deal. People say, do what you love and the money will follow. That's bullcrap. It never happens. Well, first of all, it can happen, but it's not because of that. That's not the key. What it is right. Exactly. It's not the cause and effect. What it is no matter what, even on your worst day, or my worst day is better than most people's best day, because I'm doing what I love. And if it's what you love, you get up every morning excited. You'll push through that. You'll figure out a way through dyslexia, through wherever you are growing up, through the lack of connections, the lack of this, the lack of support. If you're doing what you love, that drive is what makes you successful. So even that's why you do what you love, because you are unstoppable.
Yes. Yes. And the discouragements that come along become pebbles in the road instead of boulders, right?
Yeah.
One of my teachers said, you have to become bigger than your problems, which I thought was a really neat visual about it. It's like, well, if you've got this problem and you're seeing it as this huge boulder or a mountain in front of you, you need to become bigger than the mountain. You have to have the energy to become something that is so big that the mountain becomes a pebble.
True. And then you get to do crazy crap like this.
Yes.
When we had our first high school reunion, I bought a full page ad, and all it said was, and you said drawing during class would get me nowhere. To my teachers. And I actually had an art teacher who said, you're not going to be successful at this. And I said, wait a minute, I will. You bore me.
Wow. Oh, how awful. For an art teacher to tell a kid that should be illegal.
Well, but also telling me this. Well, it was boring. But in all fairness, though, first of all, true. There's dictators and there's teachers, right? A dictator says, do it this way. And I've actually had this conversation with my kids' students. I go, wait a minute, you're not a teacher, you're a dictator. Your job is to get through to the kids. No matter what kind of problem you think they might be. That's your job as a teacher. A dictator just says, do this, do this, do this. And my kids went to private school. So since I'm paying you, be a teacher, please.
Right. Allow them to be who they are rather than telling them to be somebody else or to do something else that isn't them. Yes, absolutely.
We're unpacking some adventures.
So tell me about, so that was definitely not an ally, probably one of the minor villains in your story. Yeah. So who were some of the allies or the sidekicks besides your mom?
My mom.
Your mom, obviously, but who besides your mom were sidekicks, allies, mentors that put wind under your wings and got you going?
Well, my mom is the biggest one. You know, she, it was, I had a weird duality. My mom's not prideful, but she wanted to be, she was very proud. So my mom, you know, was a single mom for a lot of the time. My mom and dad got divorced very, very early. My dad's a great supportive dad. Was not the best dad to me, but as an ex-husband, amazing ex-husband. Okay. I mean, when the holidays are here, they're all here. Got it. Right? So, you know, just let you know that. So I don't want you to think I'm dissing my dad. He just was a crappy dad. To me, to boys, I don't know. It was a weird thing that the Rukes did. But my mom was always my dad was like, you can't do this. Honestly, my mom was like, you can do anything you want. So my mom was always my ally. She was the one that catered to my passion. And it's this technique that I learned. And when I say I lived to wow, she spent moments while she was getting her degrees, while she was getting her, I think she got her master's, or maybe a doctor or something. No, master's. While she was a single family, income, while she was working full time, she still made purposeful time to keep me inspired and cater to this crazy world building mind. My mom was absolutely and still is the coolest person. Next to that, I would have to say my wife. Mm-hmm. My wife lets me be me. We met, and I'm saying these things just to prove points to you, but blissfully married for 23 years. I went on the first date with my wife. We were married 3 months later, straight up. Right. And I told her I was like, I don't want a relationship. I'm done screwing off. I got to work on my career. And I never left. And then we were married 3 months later. But this is serious. So I was living in a shack outside. It's an old storage unit converted with an air unit outside my mom's house. So I have my own space. The only thing that fit in there, and I'm going to turn the camera so you can see. I've never shown anybody this way. You'll see this. But that's my art table. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's the only thing that fit in there, and a bed and a dresser. Wow. That's it. Wow. Okay. That's all. That was it. So it was basically 200 square feet is what we're talking about. That's her, I guess the toilet room, bidet, and all that stuff is twice as big as that. Her closet is 5 times bigger than that today, right? But but listen, so she met me, and listen to this, what a slop. I want to be an artist. I live in a 200 square foot shack at my mom's house. No, I'm marriage worthy. Come on. And she believes me. She goes, you know what? You really will be. So come on. I got my mom and I got this wife that believed me. That's why she is deserving of everything. Now, I will tell you that since she met me, she never worked a day in her life since. My wife coming from dropping out of high school to get 2 jobs so she wasn't homeless. Because her parents had some issues too. So she's worked her butt off, and I figured you worked enough. And so I share that with you because my wife is definitely the second. And then, of course, my kids. And, what I do is I help CEOs build companies that honor your family, your passion, your finances. You kind of understand why I'm an expert at this. Right. This part nails it. My son-in-law is basically my boss. My daughter owns another company that she's majority owner. I'm a minority owner in, and she is my boss. Right. So I work with my kids every day. The older ones, the younger ones, we'll see where they want to go because it's up to them. I'm not going to make them. Right. So those are my other allies. Then I got to say my faith in God, Jesus Christ. I mean, that, God, he, she. I make a joke. I feel God's a woman. There's no way God's a man.
Right.
But
Did I say that?
I'm a realistic Christian. I'm just gonna let you know that I am an ordained deacon, all that great stuff, and you see the religious stuff. But that and JC, there you go. That's my allies. I got some cool
There
people.
you go. I absolutely
Believe God's a woman. Thank you. I'm starting that movement. People look at me really weird. Trust me, God, he, she, whatever it is laughing. I promise you that one.
Yes. and I'm a natural born mystic. I'll go to blind space at the drop of a hat and sit there and happily commune with the divine. And I think it's so important that people have a relationship with their spiritual side, even if you're a humanist. I mean, there's got to be something that you acknowledge, even if it's just nature, that's bigger than you are, that you can sort of let go and relax in and give up all of your human stuff and allow yourself to just be. And I personally think the spiritual path is the way to go with that. And I know a bunch of humanists and I know a bunch of atheists, and we have these discussions.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think when we die, someone's going to have a lot of jokes on all of us.
Oh yes.
And it's not my place, right? And part of my feeling is if you really are going to be a Christian or a person of faith or whatever, you got to understand what your role is and whatever God you believe in role is, and let each other do that part. It's not my job to, you get it. And I love your belief, and thank you for letting me play. But I call myself a realistic Christian for that reason. I've proudly been kicked out of 3 churches.
Oh, okay. Cool. I've only been sort of kicked out.
Not necessarily for that belief, but go ahead.
So those are your allies.
Yes, and then some.
And then some. Tell me, I mean, you kind of already have told me, but you've integrated your entrepreneurial self into your life, which is, Ruke, I have to tell you, this is so unusual. This is unique. Okay. Most entrepreneurs, and I network a ton all over the world, most entrepreneurs that I see, that I encounter, are going, oh my God, I can't deal with my spouse, fill in the blank, my parents, fill in the blank. They don't believe in me. They think I'm crazy. They think I'm nuts. They just, this is my favorite question. When are you going to get a real job?
Well, listen, hold on. I hear you. Okay. And I'm telling you, I had a dad that was like that. And I would not have gone to art school if my mom didn't fight for it. By the way, my mom and dad, while divorced, get along amazingly. I mean, when my sisters live up north, and the one that they have in common, my older sister lives in North Carolina. So when my dad goes to North Carolina, my mom and my dad, while divorced for X amount of years since I was born, drive up together. Right. So there's a very big mutual respect. I did learn, I continue to learn that from my dad. Big mutual respect. That said, he was in my life, not to my sisters, but to mine was a no, you can't. My mom was you can. So you gotta pull into what does. But I'll tell you this, I created this and I'm gonna I know you might do a call to action, whatever. You tell me how you want to handle it, but I'd love to, if that's one of your biggest questions, I'd love to give this to you. Okay. So check this out. So I been networking for a long time. Another big mentor of mine is Bernie Dorman. We just lost him last week, from CEO Space International. He is how I grew out of Fort Myers. He is how I went international. And from a business standpoint, I've been a mentee of his and a client and vice versa, working with him on a monthly basis and sometimes day in, day out for a very long time. That said, I realized, and I always go, well, first of all, what I'm doing now is natural.
Right.
Okay, this is nothing, like you said, am I any different? I mean, people go, first, you haven't changed, you haven't aged, you haven't, I'm like, I know that because I play toys, that's why. But here's the deal. I saw people and I see husbands complain about their wives and the wives complain about their husbands. And I said, that's really freaking weird. What's wrong there? And then I said, what do I do differently? Because I hear what you say. It is odd to hear it. And I do, and what you're saying is true. And to step into that space, I reflect on myself going, well, how come that's not happening to me? And so I created this thing, and I'm happy to give this to your fans, the entrepreneur journey commitment.
Ooh.
Okay. And so this is why this goes wrong for people. And I'll tell you why this happened. I kept hearing this guy, the guy's going, well, yeah, I'm on my third mortgage. I'm like, God, how does your wife feel about that? Well, she doesn't know. Oh, well, that's not going to end well. This kind of stuff. Or my wife's, calling this. And I'm sitting there going, well, my wife slays me out to slay dragons. And that's what I call it. I'm going to go either right now. I walk out of this is my studio. It's about 1,000 square feet. And it's not a part of my house. It's a whole separate house and on my property. And so I walk up there, I go, all right, I'm gonna go save the world. That's my phrase right now. Normally it's, I'm gonna go slay dragons. My wife sends me out. My wife has not, except maybe one time in like decades, called me about a problem at home. That's her domain. My job is to slay dragons. So she sends me out. She won't bug me with this stuff so that my mind can be focused. She's always saying, go out there and go slay some dragons. You're doing awesome. You're going to be awesome. So she's my, again, ally. But here's also what I've done. So, there's times when there's this venture that I started that I'm still on, venture as a new venture, as a company, a project. And I say, this is important to Dad. And some things are going to need to change. I'm going to cut back on our lifestyle. We're not going to go to Disney 8 times this year. We'll still go, but not 8 times. And you'll stay in private school, but I got to cut back. And this is why. It's important to me because of this. And here's what people are missing. A, that conversation. And B, here's what followed. This is how much I'm going to spend. This is how long I'm going to dedicate on it. And if it doesn't work by this time, this is how much time I'm going to take to adjust it. And then we'll reevaluate it as a family. And here's the other part. And this is what you get. So it was a contract that I have with my family. So every decision I make, including with my son-in-law, we all have the joint conversation because they know the journey. What happens is entrepreneurs think they have to carry it on their back because of those negative conversations. But if they looked at their partner and said, hey, this is important to me because of this. And I want you to know that. And I need your permission. And these are the times I can't be disturbed. But this is what you get.
Right.
Friday nights, date night, your choice. Right. I say nothing. And so if you give the give and take, you get the freedom to fly. You get the freedom to go slay those dragons if you're transparent about your goals, the risks, and the rewards, and keep them updated. That's why by the way, that's the number one reason why entrepreneurs fail.
Yep.
I interview about 1,000 of them a year.
Yep.
And I have for decades. No, you cannot know how old I am. 31 or 13, depends what we're talking about. So I love that. I'd love to give that entrepreneur commitment contract. I developed it so that spouses and kids and partners can have a real conversation and checkpoint and milestones to be in sync.
Right. Right. And to have the conversation about the entrepreneur's journey. Because if one spouse is going, wow, I want to create something that's going to make a difference in the world, and I have this vision, and I'm going to do this, and the other spouse is like, well, no, you can't do that. It's not okay. Entrepreneurs fail all the time, therefore you will, which is the subtext.
Again, it's people's limited belief will always be put on you, and you can't accept their limited beliefs. You got to love them though, and it's freaking difficult. She's 18 now, and I don't know how old she might have been, 16 or 17. And she's like, Olivia, she goes, I have this idea, and she goes, oh no. Okay, so Jason Webb?
Yes.
My
lawyer.
Listen, y'all need a good intellectual property lawyer, Jason Webb. I'm just telling you right now. I know what we feel about lawyers, okay? But Jason and my daughter talk all the time. Okay, they're besties because Jason comes to their vacations here at my home My home is a vacation within itself. Disney's right there, but you might as well just be here. And so they talk all the time. And she told Jason an idea. And I said, why didn't you tell me? Well, because they talk all the time. So I'm not shocked by that. But she goes, because all you're going to do is encourage me, Dad. You're just going to say, go ahead and just go do it. And so and I said, what's wrong with that? She goes, well, just stop encouraging me, Dad. So I said, you know what, dear? I'm doing my job good.
Right? Right? Nobody else has that conversation. That is fabulous.
I got new ear pods and they bounced out of my head.
Okay.
But isn't that a great complaint?
That is a great complaint to have, and I wish more people had it for reals. And can I share with you what my response was one day when somebody said his mom was bugging him, when are you going to get a real job? I said, isn't CEO a good enough job? Right?
That's an incredible job.
It's an incredible job. It's fabulous. So that being said, you have one of the most inspiring stories that I have ever encountered, Ruke.
Really?
I gotta say, this is awesome. You were blessed.
Yes. Takes a lot of work.
And so
purposeful time. One more thing. I do want to say thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I have realized that as I let more people in my world going, I've never, and Justin has witnessed this. Justin's my son-in-law, my best man in my life. And he's so awesome. I jokingly go, he's so freaking awesome. I gave him my firstborn, and which is true. And people go, I want to be you. I've never heard anybody say, show me how to do. Justin did. He's the only person that's ever said, I want to do what you do. He's the only person. Everybody else in my life around me has said, I want to be you. I'm like, that is freaking, be yourself. Right. I'll show you how to get there. It's kind of weird. Right. I appreciate that. But it's here's the key about the entrepreneur. When people say you're going to fail, it's because you have not, that's around you. Okay. It's because you haven't spent the time to be fully transparent. You also haven't spent purposeful time. I will tell you this, my daughter, I started to have it. My dad, when my parents got divorced when I was like real young. I say the day I was born, I said, Mom, that's your gift. And with love. I mean, again, my mom and dad have a great relationship. And my dad would, in preschool on Fridays, play basketball with me. He'd pick me up from preschool and all this good stuff, or take me out for an hour. And when my kid went, I'm sorry, she's not a Billy Goat. When my child went, I did the same. And there was a time where they were all at the same school, the three of them, because I got 4 daughters. Now you know why I'm so attached to Justin, right? Because right? I was going to say, and the 5 dogs are all girls. He's the only man in my life. He really is. And so I started with them, and so they went to private school that had kindergarten, middle, and high school all the same school. And so Fridays I would just hang out at their school the whole time. But here's what's good about this. It's purposeful time. I met my kids on their turf, their terms. It wasn't my household. It's not Dad's rules. And we have to do that. Now, I might not be home every night because I travel, right? But when I'm there, I'm there. I might not, I work obscene hours at times. Right. And that's purposeful time. Being present is what's key to it. And I can tell you that has been a glue that they know that I'm there. Yes. Yeah. And so the entrepreneur, be transparent and set aside purposeful time. That looks like, dear, tonight, it's your night. I'll walk up to my 8-year-old, tomorrow's your day, whatever you want. They're rules. Right. And if you have to play Minecraft for the 100th time, 1,000th time, you're like, you got to suck it up. And sometimes, and I loved Minecraft. My kid plays it 24/7. There's at some point you got to go, we got to get another game here. But you know, that's the key. That's the key to get the permission you want to be free. Right. So I know that you have something to offer my audience. What's that? So,
I'm just
well,
saying.
I don't know. So there's two things. Okay. So I appreciate. So I'll put this up. Well, first of all, I would love for them to play with us. Right? Would you say that?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
if y'all want to see what me and Sue do every week, I'm going to give you the graphics, no sound effects. There's usually sound effects. I'm not going to do that to you, but we say, let's play. All right. So if you come to the worlddominatingfair.com, you can actually network with us and do this live. There's no charge. We do this for 2 hours every Tuesday, worlddominatingfair.com. And because of you, I'll give you this as well. I won't do the fireworks for it. I'll just keep this, worlddominatingplans.com.
Yeah.
I always put free stuff in there. There's my greatest lessons of my world dominating brand message. Mine is I help CEOs build companies that honor your family, your passions, and your finances. That's what I do. And that has been one of my number one money makers for me and my clients, because it gets their language clear, and people, instead of clever and witty people, it's clear and profound. They go, what? Tell me that again? Yeah. And that's what you want. And then I go, it's through branding, marketing, and sales. That's what I do. So there's some lessons there. My gift to you. The other one, I don't know who's going to listen and when's going to listen. This is evergreen gift. You tell them how they can get the entrepreneur journey. I'll just give it to you. You can give it out freely. So you tell them what you want for that.
What I want for it?
Well, how you want to give it to them is what I'm saying. We'll post it, a link.
We can put up a link in
There we go.
the description, and people can click it and go down. We'll make it happen. We'll give it to
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I meant, because it's your gift, my gift via you to them.
Wonderful. Isn't that awesome? You are amazing, Ruke. I appreciate it. So thank you. Bless you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
People, check Ruke out. Really, come to the World Dominating Fair. It's an enormous amount of fun. You meet really interesting people there. That's the cool part. And oh, by the way, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur yet.
Yes.
Just come to get inspired, come to get energized, come to get feedback, because it's all about play, and it's all about people being supportive. So just show up on Tuesdays and you will just have the best time.
And what you said is important, because there's 3 categories of people who play: those who have ideas, those who have businesses, and those who have companies. An idea is something that you want to turn into a business. A business is where you've grown and worked and hustled enough that you can hire others on your behalf to help contribute to your revenue. And then a company is where you're looking to exit it and replace yourself so you can go do a next thing. And by the way, that's a cycle. It continues. And so we have people there are multi-millionaires. I would say they have multiple businesses that do multiple millions, and that's true. And we have people go, hey, I just have an idea.
Yes.
And so it is. And you won't be judged. We will be the voice that says, yes, you can. And we'll actually show you how. It's pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you for being on my show. Thank you, my audience, my folks who are watching this, and listen again to the sweet sound of success. What are your dreams for your business? You know what drives me crazy? really smart business owners denying their talents because they've been taught it has to be hard, because they've been taught that they don't deserve their gifts, that they're not worth anything. They've been taught that their gender means they can't express their genius. I'm Sue Wilhite, and I want you to have access to your genius. I want you to go out and rock the world with your genius. So I created the Call to Action coaching program. It's all about getting to the heart of you and what you've got to share with the world to make a profitable business that thrives and allows you to make a difference in the world. Click the link to sign up for the Call to Action coaching program today. Don't let your genius go unnoticed.